My harvest. Sa newspaper at magazines, share our knowledge, koneksyon sa klima at sa pagbabasa. The stories of the everyday person who know better than us.
Trees. Everywhere I look, I feel your heartbeat. Majestic mountains high, in every drop of rain. All of this just shows me how much you love me. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your constant care for me. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your endless grace for me. The birds, a perfect symphony. Smell of the flowers, the richness of the soil, the sweetness of the fruit that satisfies. I am amazed by the symphony of your creation. I am amazed by your omnipresence. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your endless grace for me. From a firefly to a shooting star, to the song the cricket sings, from the raging seas to the placid lakes, to the bubbling of the stream, from the rays I feel from the rising sun to the stillness of the night. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your constant love for me. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty.
Noong 1998, tandang-tanda ko pa, nang magsimula ang aking political career, nahalal bilang freshman senator sa 11th Congress, rank number 1. Napasa akin ko ang mahigit sa kalahati ng total na national votes. Pinakabatang senator at isa sa 2 natatanging female senators nung panahon na yon. Ngunit ito'y hindi isang posisyon na inihain at ibinigay na lamang sa akin. Pinagpawisan at pinagpaguran ko ang karangalang ito. Mahabang sakripisyo at matagal kong pinaghandaan ang gawaing alam kong para sa akin. Simula pa man ay nais ko nang maglingkod. Taus-puso kong hangad maging isang public servant, ang makamit at makapagdulot ng tunay at makabuluhang gawain. At noon pa man ay may mga usapin at issues na matimbang sa aking puso. Ako'y naglingkod bilang chairperson para sa mga komite ng Environment at Economic Affairs. Bago pa man ako umabot sa edad na 40, ako'y hinirang bilang isa sa mga Global Leaders for Tomorrow sa World Economic Forum sa Davos, Switzerland. Iginawa din sa akin ang United Nations Environment Program Award sa Turin, Italy noong 2001. Lahat ng ito habang ako'y patuloy na nagsusulong ng mga batas na layuning mangalaga sa karapatang pambabae at pangkabataan tulad ng Anti-Domestic Violence Act, Anti-Child Labor Law at ang Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. Ako rin ang pangunahing nagsulong upang maging batas ang Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. Pagdating ng 2001, ako ay nahalal bilang Senate Majority Floor Leader. Ang kauna-unahan at natatanging babaeng nagkamit ng posisyon na ito. Patuloy akong nagsikap bilang isang mambabatas at noong 2007 ay muling nakamit ang number 1 senator position. Napasa akin ang pinakamaraming boto at kinilala bilang bukod-tanging woman senator na nagkamit ng top position sa Senate race twice. Tuloy-tuloy sa paglilingkod, tuloy sa pagiging mambabatas at tuloy sa mas marami pang advokasya. At noong 14th Congress, ako'y namuno bilang chairperson ng mga sumusunod na komite. Ngunit walang patid at walang humpay ang aking gawain bilang mambabatas. Kaya't sa sumunod na 12 taon, patuloy akong naglingkod bilang senador sa 15th, 16th at 17th Congress ng Pilipinas. Kasabay pa rin ito ang aking pagsusulong sa mga advokasyang malapit sa aking puso. Patuloy akong namuno sa mga komite sa climate change, foreign relations, finance at cultural communities. Buong puso kong pinagmamalaki ang aking mga narating bilang isang mambabatas. Ngunit higit pa sa mga batas na aking sinulong, walang kapagurang pinapagpatuloy ko ang aking mga personal na advokasya. Noong 2009, pinamunuan ko ang matagumpay na pagsasabatas ng landmark Philippine Climate Change Act. At noong June ng taong yun, ako'y naghatid ng keynote speech sa Forum on the Human Impact of Climate Change sa Geneva. At patuloy akong nang hikayat na magsulong ng makabagong pananaw sa governance upang masagot ang lumalaking panganib sa climate disaster. Doon ay nilunsad ang aking Legarda Doctrine, isang bagong development thinking at holistic development philosophy ayon sa sustainable at equitable socio-economic ecosystems of governance. Pagdating ng Disyembre ng parehong taon, ako'y nagsalita tungkol sa climate change sa United Nations Climate Change Conference sa Copenhagen at personal nang nag-udyok sa mga mambabatas ng mga ibang bansa na magsulong ng mga batas para tumugon sa mga climate change issues. Ako rin ay matagal nang nagsusulong sa pagpapanatili ng ating national identity at culture at ng ancestry ng mga indigenous peoples. Naigawad sa akin ang mga sumusunod na titulo mula sa iba't ibang katutubo at indigenous peoples groups. Ako rin ang pangunahing nagsulong sa pagbabalik ng bansa sa prestigious na Venice Biennale, ang Olympics ng contemporary art world, matapos ang 51 years na walang partisipasyon. Sa gitna ng mga ito ay patuloy ko pa rin pinananagutan ang aking hangaring maglingkod. Ang damdamin ko'y nag-uumapaw at Taus-puso akong nagpapasalamat sa mga tumulong sa akin itong mga nakalipas na taon. Hinding-hindi ko malilimutan ang mga taong nagtiwala, nagsakripisyo, ako'y habang buhay na magpapasalamat. Ngunit mahigit pa sa lahat ng aking narating, hindi pa sa mga batas na isinulong at sa mga komite na pinamunuan, maging sa mga awards at mga parangal na iginawad sa akin. Ako'y buong pusong nagagalak sa tuwing maaalala sa isipan ang ngiti ng mga taong aking naabot. Ang mga kabataan, kababaihan, mga mag-anak at komunidad, mga katutubo, magsasaka, mangingisda, at ang mga minamaliit at hindi man lamang binibigyan ng halaga. Ang damdamin ko'y patuloy nilang naaantig. Sila'y nagbibigay halaga at kabuluhan sa lahat ng aking gawain. Patuloy akong nauudyok magsumikap at walang pagod ay pagpatuloy ang bukod tanging karangalang makapaglingkod. Ako po ang inyong abang lingkod, Loren Legarda.
Hello, are we online? Yes, am I heard? In this virtual world, I always have to check. Okay, let me see if I'm online. Kasi po, pag mag-isa ako dito at ako ang nag-set up, hindi ako sigurado kung naririnig na ako. Yes, okay, let me see. Because yesterday, I was delivering a lecture in Humboldt University in Berlin. And in the middle of my lecture on piña or embroidery, pineapple fiber, nag-black out. Kaya let me see. Yes, okay, I can be heard. I can start. Natutuwa ang mga bagets at mga millennials, kasama pala ang kanilang mga nanay. Nakikita, hindi, kasama ba si Bambi? Hindi. Okay. Yes, it's Bambi. Okay, I refuse to wear my glasses. So happy to be with you. Why did I show that video? I call it my legacy video. Kasi marami sa ating mga panauhin ngayon ay baka hindi pa napapanganak nung ginawa ko yung mga environmental laws. Pero ask your mothers, tanong po nyo sa inyong mga mama, papa, nanay, tatay, lola, lolo, kung alam ba nila yung mga batas na ginawa ng isang batang senadorang Loren Legarda noong 1998. Ayan, tatanungin ko ngayon sa ating mga panauhin, saan kayo noong 1998? Saan kayo nung dinedebate ko yung ecological solid waste management? Natatawa sila, oh, nakikita ko natatawa sila, yun. Yung ecological solid waste management law, at sinasabi nila noon, ano ba itong batang senador na to? I was the youngest and only one of two female senators in 98. And one of the first bills I filed was Republic Act 9003, a 20-year-old law. Why am I saying that? So essential because I will ask you, that's why you are my guests, to help me ensure that that law is implemented in your communities and to reverberate all over the country. So much passion today. But I say this because many of the young ones now, perhaps 18 years old to 25 or 30, may not know the laws already exist or the laws that I authored in 98 till 2004 or 2007 to 2013. But I can see that Bambi Manyosa Tanhutko of Museo Pambata is here. I would like to work with you, Bambi, so that we can have a virtual tour of Museo Pambata if you're still close, but I think bukas na kayo, but tell me. And I like what you did. I see on social media, on the digital platform, some of the activities you've done. Perhaps we can do an initiative, let's say, on the planting of native trees, native plants, native indigenous endemic Flora as well. And I'm happy, and I've participated in some of the events of Natasha and Isabella, Kids for Kids, right? Hindi ako makahindi sa inyo maski weekend doon, nandun ako. Kasama rin natin si Edeline Payawal, founder and manager of Hiraya Childhood Play Farm. Alam niyo, nakakatuwa na may mga ganito kasi do you know that in doing so, you are implementing a law I also co-authored, which is the Environmental Awareness and Education Act, which is being implemented by DepEd. We also have Sharon Cortez of the Forest School. I love to see how a forest school actually works because I'm a storyteller. I'm a documentarist. I'm a teacher by heart. I love to teach, but I also love to learn. So today, I will learn from the Childhood Play Farm because when I was young in rural Malabon in the 1960s and 70s, ang aking kalaro ay hindi naman computer at gadgets, obviously not. Ang kalaro ko, let's see if the Tanhut girls can guess, salagubang, paru-paro, tutubing karayom, umaakyat ako ng puno ng mangga at kaimito. Guess now. Fast forward in the year 2000. Yun pa rin ang aking gawa. I love to listen to the birds, and believe me, I'm a child of television, but I don't have television. I don't have television. I'm sorry. I grew up in television. I produced award-winning documentaries and shows, but I don't have television now. I don't even listen to music because the song of the birds and the cicadas is my music, but never mind about me. So I will learn from the Hiraya Childhood Play Farm. I will learn from the Forest School Philippines. And how can we replicate these initiatives that you're doing and you've done? First of all, hi, DepEd, ang ating mga principals, district supervisors, DepEd supervisors, teachers, ang ating mga presidente ng PTA, dapat iniimbita natin Climate Change Commission at DepEd, Yusek Sevilla, Secretary Briones, tutulungan po namin kayo para maitaas ang antas ng edukasyon. Alam nyo, ang mga survey ay survey. Yes, para may benchmark tayo. Pero ang dami nating outstanding students, ang daming magagaling na mga teachers na mga gusto magtayo ng farm school, gusto magtayo ng mga gaya ng mga ginagawa ninyo. So even this Museo Pambata, I think you should have Museo Pambata, not just in Metro Manila. I think every region must have a Museo Pambata, and we must not limit a museo into the 4 concrete walls because a museum is life. Nature is a museum. Biodiversity is my home. Yes, we have 4 walls, but really nature is our home. But I promised I will not speak too much. I promised I will let Museo Pambata, Hiraya, and our other guests of the Forest School tell us the best practices that you do so that every community can emulate, copy, replicate in your areas. So perhaps one bill I can file is the establishment of a children's nature playground museum in every municipality when applicable. Perhaps Museo Pambata can draft such legislation for me. Yan. So yan ang nagiging problema, I will admit, Bambi. When you guest here, it ends up maraming trabaho and work. Okay, so magsimula tayo sa Museo Pambata. Una, Bambi and our guests, yes, Tasha and Belia, ano ba ang kaibahan ng Museo Pambata at yung Kids for Kids? At bukas na ba ang Museo Pambata? At ano ang mga inisyatibang ginagawa ninyo para mapalaganap ang pag-iintindi ng kalikasan, ng pagbabago ng klima, ng mga batas na ginawa ko 1998 henceforth para maintindihan ng ating kabataan. Ayan. Sino? Ang mama muna magsalita o yung mga magagaling na bagets? Tasha and Belia. Maybe, let's see. Tasha and Belia. Kids for Kids and in relation to Museo. And then I listen to your mother. Our partners for this webinar, which started upon the first quarter of the pandemic last year, are Department of Agriculture, the DNR, the Department of Education, our indispensable partner, and of course, the Climate Change Commission, which is a law I enacted in my second term, the Climate Change Act, which established the Commission on Climate Change and the People's Survival Fund. So, ano ba yung halaman na sa likod mo, Tasha? And Belia? Is this Tasha or Belia?
Hi, this is Bella, and it's actually
Bella.
a coconut.
Okay,
This is the
coconut.
coconut.
Sige, okay. Sige. So, Bella muna, wala si Tasha.
She's trying to finish a meeting right.
That's okay.
now.
Sige.
Then
Sige. Si Bella, tapos we will speak with Bambi. Okay, Kids for Kids. Sumali na ako sa mga webinar nyo. Ano ang pakay ninyo at paano nyo papalaganapin ang mga advokasya ng kalikasan para sa ating kabataan? And then we go to the Museo Pambata. Ayan. So sabay na sila. Bukas na ba kayo sa Museo Pambata?
Actually, hindi pa kami bukas. We're still.
Pwede naman kasi pag outdoor pag buksan naman lahat, pwede yon. Oo.
Yeah, exactly what we wanted to do, Sen Lauren, because Museo Pambata, like you know, it's confined in the four walls, no? So when I came on board in 2019, we thought of expanding to the exterior kasi the exterior space is full of asphalt. It's all asphaltado, the entire area. Kasi dun yung mga, nagpa-park yung mga bus ng field trips. As you know, Museo Pambata is really a field trip destination. So
Yes.
the pandemic was a big challenge. We've been closed over a year. So we've been surviving through donations also and grants. And during the lockdown, the kids and I, so si Bella, just for everybody to know, si Bella and Tasha are my daughters. So Tasha will follow after a meeting and they will present first. They'll talk first because my kids grew up with me in my art studio. They grew up with me pulling them out of school. Sorry, teachers, but I used to do that a lot. I used to pull them out of school to do our own little field trips in nature. In the outdoors.
Huwag ka na mag-sorry, ganun din ako.
Panay
Ang mga-
absent yung mga anak ko sa school.
Ay nako, ang mga
Kasi-
anak ko lumaki sa tubig, sa isla, sa Mindanao, sa Cordillera. Maski 5 years old, dinadala ko sa mga museo at sa mga
Yeah.
kabundukan. Huwag ka mag-sorry, maganda yan.
Okay, kasi
Sige, we will listen to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I would always pull them out of school and they would come with me when I used to do art outreaches. So they would
Sige.
come with me to Cebu and Sagada and all that. So
Sure.
Beth will share.
Makikinig tayo ngayon sa Kids for Kids at sa Museo Pambata at titignan ano ang ating matututunan at kung paano nila pinapalaganap ang ating batas na Environmental Awareness and Education Act para magkaroon rin ng mga Museo Pambata sa bawat rehiyon sa ating bansa. Yes. Please proceed. Bella.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm Bella. This is my mom, Bambi, again. And I'm super happy to be here to present to all of you. I'm actually amazed at the set of speakers that we have today lined up because we can actually notice and see how that, there's a more importance and emphasis on unconventional education. So we have education in a play farm or a forest and now an urban setting. It's really great to see that, happening now. So Kids for Kids is basically an organization me and my sister started in 2015, and all we do is advocate for children's rights. And so actually throughout the pandemic, we've seen a rise in a lot of youth NGOs, and it's really become more of like an emphasis on seeing how like the world's young people are actually, the world's greatest source of hope, because we're the ones now pushing for a better future for all of us. And so Sorry. So throughout the lockdown, we actually have been involved in a lot of relief operations, both long term and short term. And throughout this entire experience, we have noticed, the lack of safe and green spaces for our children to run around in and to thrive in. Because again, we have an average of 20 typhoons per year, and so calamities are faced by these children every single day. And so what we'd like is, for the future of the Filipino children to have, a space that they can actually thrive in and run to that's safe for them. And so here in Kids for Kids, we advocate for a safe environment because we believe that a safe environment encompasses a safe place to learn, a safe place to play, and a safe place for kids to grow up in. And so we say that you really can't talk about, cleaning up the planet without talking about the people, because all in all, they're the ones inhabiting this earth and we're the ones that are going to inherit it as well. And so we really emphasize, when my mom came in Museo Pambata, we were saying it's a great avenue where we can kind of help out in, because really kids need safe spaces to run to in order to thrive in. Because again, as Senator Legarda also mentioned, that, we learn more not confined within four walls of a classroom, but really outside in nature. And there has been a lack, especially during the pandemic, of, environmental education instilled in kids. And so we feel like, if we just allow them to thrive in open and green, safe spaces, they'll be able to, have that natural sense of knowledge instilled with them again. And so Kids for Kids then decided to create this entire campaign called Kapuloan ng Kabataan, where we started generating safe spaces for young people to connect them back to the natural world. So luckily, we partnered with my mom, Museo Pambata, to be one of those safe spaces. And we have currently a team of high school and college kids working with Museo Pambata to kind of help them uplift their space. And so we combine all of these four pillars, so natural practices, indigenous knowledge, youth empowerment, and being multicultural, because in the Philippines you really have to embrace the different traditions we all have, and not only what is located in Manila, but get everything from around the Philippines and show the people who live in the urban spaces what really the Philippines is all about. And so that's what we kind of wanted to champion in Museo Pambata. So, environment as a foundation for Filipino culture, seeing the intersectionality between both people and planet through the spaces, having a balance of nostalgia, but both also a new age, and, seeing the community found within, the Philippines' natural world. So these are all the things that we kind of wanted to foster with Museo Pambata.
And so when I came on board Museo Pambata in 2019, I pulled Kids for Kids to come on board together with us because, of course, when you have a children's museum, what better way than to listen to what the youth have to say, right? I think especially after the pandemic, we decided to give the kids more of a platform because I think a lot of us adults have already so-called destroyed our earth. So I think it's time we listen to what they want us to do. No? So Museo Pambata is about the Filipino child and Filipino childhood. Museo Pambata nurtures, protects, and empowers the Filipino community. So this is our curatorial statement for Museo, for the new Museo. And we would like Museo to be the beacon of light and hope in the city of Manila for the children of the Philippines. So we would like to be a platform for all the youth. And so because of the lockdown, we decided, how are we going to operate again as a museum, right? We're confined in four walls of over 100-year-old building. I'm sure a lot of teachers here have sent their kids to Museo on field trips before. So we decided, okay, let's start with the exterior space. So we decided to come up with a new exhibit area called our Bakuran. So this will be outside. This is our urban garden, and everything about the space will also be an exhibit in itself. So with exhibits come programs. So luckily, in 2019, when I came on board, I was able to get a grant from the Tukod Foundation. This is a foundation of my family, my mother. We had a fundraiser called Awit at Laro. And this fundraiser was able to allow Tukad Foundation to donate a playground project for Museo Pambata. So come the pandemic, everything closed, and so it took really long for us to finish building it, but we were able to launch it last 24. So this is the playground, existing playground of Museo Pambata when we came on board. And that's why I said we need to fix this, because kids need a safe space really to go out into, right? So before, dun lang sila sa loob ng museum. So paglabas nila, this was the state of the playground at that time. So we said we need to bring kids outside also. So this is now what our playground looks like. So the theme of our playground is Pukyutan. We call it Bahay Pukyutan. We just launched this, we'll be blessed it June 24, because this was actually a design that my father, late architect, Manyosa, came up with in the early 80s, I think, for Lungsod ng Kabataan in Quezon City. So my brother just made it space specific, kasi arkitekto yung kapatid ko. So he made it space specific for Museo Pambata, and following the safety standards in the urban setting. We also have a tree house, and in this area, this is where kids will be learning all about the bees. So we said, okay, bees as pollinators, as like stewards of our environment and ecology and all this circularity. So we said, dapat we have to bring in some bees, diba? So we learn about them. Kasi ako din, like what Senator Lauren was saying, we are teachers by heart, but at the same time, we're also always learning and we're always students. So I said, sige, mag-experiment nga tayo. Let's bring in some bees. So we have now our in-house beekeeper, si Sir Alex, and we said, sige, let's just try to experiment and see if it works in the city of Manila. Wala kami sa farm, right? So we decided, trial muna, and then if it works, then let's continue and see if people would like to support and help us. So we'll just share a little, are we going to share a little video? Okay, yeah. We'll just share a little video of our journey. So these bees came on board in September. So we said, sige, trial. Let's see what we can do with these bees.
Hello everyone, I'm Alex, the resident beekeeper of Museo Pambata.
And so we were so happy. It was so successful. So believe it or not, kala nga namin na parang, sige, try lang, even if we have like a few pieces of honey, bottles of honey. But we were able to harvest a total of about 163 kilos with just 5 urban hives, no, that are there in Museo. So now we said, okay, it's successful. So this is our first honey harvest. And because I have Kids for Kids on board, so my daughter Tasha did the logo for this one. So that's one of the advantages of being in a pandemic inside a house with your daughters who are artists also, and who have a group called Kids for Kids, who help out spaces like Museo Pambata. So what we want to continue later on, so this is actually, if a lot of teachers here remember, yung space namin sa museo, this is what it looks like, no? The exterior. Up to today, actually, behind me is the Pukyutan. When I look forward, this is what I see. So I would like to remove all the asphalt, and this is what we are fundraising for, is we want to create green spaces for museo, where we can really play, kids can play and they can run, and it can be a safe space for kids and their families. So the parents can have a coffee, the teachers can relax, they can all come together. We can collaborate a lot with teachers and students. And so this other area, this is yung greenhouse ng Museo Pambata, existing ho ito right now. And what we want to do is to bring it to the next level. Like, what would a Bahay Kubo? So we said, let's convert it into a Bahay Kubo. But what would a Bahay Kubo 2.0? Kasi nasa urban setting ho kami. We're in in the heart of Manila, no, we're a stone's throw away from Luneta Park. So we said it has to be, what is the next level naman for the Bahay Kubo in an urban setting? So this is a design that we have. This will be the next level. So we will be having also, we'll be integrating solar tubes and aquaponics, exhibits on aquaponics to teach kids and families also how you can grow your own food, how the Bahay Kubo is a very sustainable home, and how being able to grow your own food can actually sustain your own little community in your space.
So the main reason why we came in and stepped in to help in Museo Pambata is because we saw that the world was now evolving, and it's either that people adapt and change with the times or get left behind. And it's really important that we do adapt, because it's the future for children. We are 100% of tomorrow, and so we should really be involved in creating that safe environment for our children to thrive in.
And so we would like Museo Pambata to be the leading, that's our dream, no? Our vision is to be the leading youth hub in the country that will amplify the voice of the youth and generations of Filipino game changers. So we would like to breed these kind of people and collaborate with like the speakers we have today on board with us, to collaborate, because I think really the future of kids is so important, and they will really be our leaders of tomorrow, if you think about it. So the more we put that in their hearts, we plant the seeds today, they will be the adults that we look up to tomorrow. And in Museo, we would like to say that
one is near God's heart in a garden than anywhere else in the world. Because when we know that, because in Manila, Museo Pambata is situated in Manila, and they always say God first. So similar to that, in Museo Pambata, we're really gonna breed children to be co-creators with God, in order to create an environment that is conducive for them to learn and to grow up in.
That's great. I've been to Museo Pambata when I think Mina Yuson was heading it. That was quite long time ago, and it's a beautiful space. Malapit yan sa dating Army-Navy Club. Marami yan sa Luneta, sa Quirino Grandstand.
Yes,
and ang laki ng potential. But in the meantime that you don't have the funds for that, it's important that we utilize the space virtually. Meron ba kayong mga virtual tours ng Museo Pambata? You can just take it through a camera phone and then do it online, and maybe one of your children or one child living in Manila can annotate it in a very casual, authentic, real way. I've done that actually for the Vargas Museum in UP during the lockdown with Dr. Patrick Flores. I did that for the Hibla ng Lahing Filipino for the National Museum. I am sure you can do that para yung bawat kwarto, bawat corner ng Museo Pambata sa loob ngayon pandemya ay pwedeng ma-enjoy ng mga pati bata sa mga informal settler areas. Pati mga bata sa Mindanao, makikita na meron pa ng ganyang Museo Pambata. So while it is laudable to do the beautiful greenhouse, Bahay Kubo, or even redo the asphalt playground or space, you can do a virtual tour of Museo Pambata and even get, let's say, the Hiraya Childhood Farm or the Forest School Philippines to do teach-ins, tours, and lectures and bridge them virtually. Just a suggestion. And the beautiful thing about it is libre yan, di ba? Tapos pwede rin kayo mag-partnership with DepEd. So DepEd is our partner here. Museo Pambata, once you have that virtual tour, pwedeng i-integrate sa mga klase sa Department of Education learners natin para magaganda nung mga nakikita ko nung panahon pa dati. Then perhaps another suggestion would be to database, to inventory, lahat ng puno at anong klaseng puno, and just use old wood or maski mga bamboo or recycled plastic na tungkod na anong pangalan ng puno, may naraba, may akasya, at alamin yung benepisyo ng mga punong nakapaligid sa property ng museo. So,
Yeah.
there's so many possibilities. Yes.
Yeah, actually, we are already in the process of doing that, our virtual tours. It's just that during the pandemic, we had to retrench a lot of people. So we're actually really a team of 6 right now as compared to we were about 40 then. So
Yes.
we're a team of 6. So the challenge is really building the team that will put this together because there's cost to it. So we're still looking for funds to put everything together, no? At the same time, we are also exactly that suggestion what you were saying na to name all the trees around the area. Yes, we are bringing in even more, which are all just endemic Filipino species, no? Similar to yung pukyutan, it's all local. Everything that is planted there is all local. And they will all be labeled. And then they also will accompany programs. So yun yung what's happening now.
Interesting kanina, Bambi, yung binanggit mo yung pukyutan. Hindi ko nakita sa picture. Ano yung pukyutan dyan sa museo?
It's the playground. Yes. It's the playground. It's the shape of a hexagon.
Yes.
So it's like a honeycomb.
I see. Bakit pukyutan ang tinawag?
Kasi pukyutan actually means bee. It's bee.
Oh, okay. Bago lang yan. Bagong pangalan lang. Kasi iniisip ko kung napuntahan ko yun nung long ago, wala pang pukyutan noon. Ito wala yung launch nyo yung inyong honeybee program para sa mga nanonood at gustong bumili ng isang makatikim, ng isang honeybee, isang honey na galing sa bee. Tama ba yun? Matikman ng honey na galing sa mga bee na parang micro-enterprise ng Museo Pambata. Saan available yan? Online?
Yeah, actually, it's available online sa Museo Pambata Facebook page. But we're not really selling at the moment. We're giving it as token for people who give us donations.
I see.
So, yeah, because
para lang meron kaming para meron ideya, yan, yung mga gustong magkaroon ng micro-enterprise. Magkano ang puhunan sa isang maliit na hindi naman bee farm, pukyutan ba ang tawag doon? Magkanong puhunan, ganong katagal bago magkaroon tayo ng maliliit na mga honey sa mga bote at ilan ang production? Yan.
Okay, so actually yung isang box na Urban Hive was an investment of 10,000 pesos. So 10,000 pesos for one box, and then so we have about 5 in Museo Pambata. So we had some people that donated. We have 5 of them in Museo. Nag-umpisa kami nung September 2020. We brought those boxes in. And then the production is over the season. Yung harvest namin was last April, May. In fact, June, now we have one more harvest. In about a week or 2, and we got about 163 kilos of honey from that. Yes.
Oh, okay. So sa 10,000 pesos, ilan ang harvest sa unang harvest? Yan, para makita natin yung return of investment.
It's about 30 kilos roughly.
30 kilos sa isang box. Okay. At magkano naman yung per kilo?
We don't have yung cost on that yet. Because we're still experimenting, and we're still trying to, we have to actually relocate them also. So we have to have a better space. Like as you said, we're also teachers at heart, but also learners, lifelong learners. So we're also still learning about it.
Oh, interesting. Ilang tao ng Museo Pambata ang gumawa niyang honeybee?
1.
Isang tao. So, yeah. So, importante.
Kaya nga 6 na lang ho kami, kaya 1.
Para maintindihan ng mga tagapanood natin, pati yung mga teachers na gusto magkaroon ng hobby.
Pero eksperto, he's a hobbyist. So that's what we actually want to show in Museo Pambata, that you don't really need to be an expert to do certain things. So kunyari, even yung aquaponics namin will be a hobbyist that will be putting it together.
Yun ang
so
maganda.
It's something people can do.
Yes.
Diba? Yung parang it's you don't need to, it doesn't have to be so expensive, it doesn't have to be state of the art, pero
yun ang maganda. Ang ibig ko sabihin, hindi ka kailangan maging eksperto, maghilig lang isang tao, isang kahon, pero mahal din yung 10,000, din naman lahat may 10,000 pesos, tapos makaka-produce ng harvest ng 32 kilos after 6 months, no?
Yeah, so it's really
Yes.
a hobby. Our beekeeper, Sir Alex de la Cuesta, is actually he's a full-time accountant, really, and this is
Ah,
this is his
yes.
sideline. And from that, we're able also. He's also able to make a lot of products like soaps, bees. Because you have beeswax, so candles. So it just expands, no. So these are things.
Nakakatuwa, yes.
Nakakatuwa talaga kasi this is something that kids can really learn the
Okay.
importance of.
So nakita nyo, accountant siya ng Museo Pambata pero mahilig at may panahon pa siya at naging beekeeper. At hindi lang yon, nag-innovate pa, gumawa pa ng sabon at gumawa pa ng ibang produkto na pwedeng pagkakitaan. So yan ang mga leksyon po natin sa ating Stories for a Better Normal. Dahil sa Better Normal, lahat ay kaya at nag-innovate tayo ayon sa kalikasan. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Proceed now to Belia is done. Is Tasha with us or later perhaps? No, Tasha's done, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, papakinggan natin ang Hiraya Childhood Play Farm. So, actually, pwede kayo mag-collaborate. Did you know each other before this or ngayon? Okay, so really this webinar brings people together. In fact, hindi usually kami palaging Luzon as far as Mindanao. The other time, we had Bukidnon Farms. Ngayon naman, yung Hiraya, thank you so much to the Manyosa Tanhutco family for sharing your stories for a better normal on giving children educational information, materials on nature and opportunities in this pandemic. And we will get back to you and hope to support your beekeeping and your museo as well. Okay, Childhood Play Farm, nakakatuwa. Si Eds, ano kaya tong Childhood Play Farm ninyo at paano natin ma-motivate ang iba para magkaroon ng mga play farm? Yes, we'd like to see what you have. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, good morning. So I'm Eds. This is Michael Dennis Mendoza. He's my cousin, so we're first cousins. So we manage this farm together. So how did we start? Okay, so since we're kids, we grew up in the province. Ako laki akong Bulacan niya ako by heart. Malalim ako mag-Tagalog, magaling ako makipagbalagtasan. Sila kuya naman sa Rizal. And then, na-enjoy lang namin talaga yung simpleng buhay, yung mga simpleng laro, kamukha nung binanggit kanina ni Senator Lauren, yung mga after school, nanguhuli ka ng tutube, nanguhuli kami ng suso, namimitas kami ng alateris, ganyan. So, when we got older, when adulting gets to you and life becomes more complicated, more stressful, and there's more pressure, there's also more appreciation when it comes to the simple life, and also more appreciation of your childhood, your past. And so we started dreaming about having a place of our own, a space of our own for our family and also for our kids. So we wanted to create a version of a world we want to live in. For me, when I had my daughter in 2016, kasi even though I grew up in Bulacan, since college, I started living in Quezon City. So it's a different environment na, especially when you have a daughter, na you want them to play in an open space. I want her to experience the same kind of childhood that I experienced, yung appreciation para sa mga bagay-bagay, yung mag-explore, maglaro, yung hindi yung nakakulong lang siya sa maliit na space or nakakulong siya sa four walls ng bahay. So itong Hiraya Childhood Play Farm, that's why it's a childhood play farm. And
it's really also our way of sharing our childhood memories, our experiences with others, with other families, with the rest of the world. That's how we developed and envisioned and designed the whole farm. It's really a throwback, very simple. We are not a manicured farm. Everything you would see in the farm is basically a DIY project and made by us, especially Kuya, who handles all the construction or the development in the farm. So when we started in 2019, yeah, this space we saw, kasi my mother's roots naman are in Rizal. So we wanted to, this property, when we had it, ano lang siya talaga, talahib, masukal. And ang unang vision lang namin is, yeah, linisin lang natin, tingnan natin how it will transform. Tapos, tulong-tulong lang kami, magpipinsan, mga tita, tito, kanya-kanyang contribute. Kasi talagang, we really wanted to make it as personal as possible. So this is just a short clip of our farm. Right. So as you can see in the video, it's still pretty much a work in progress. And then a lot of things in the farm are actually donated also by family and friends. If you, Miss Bambi, if you saw the area with the swing and the slide, it was actually donated by Vision Arc because we saw them in the anthropology event back in Intramuros last 2020, and then I asked them what are you gonna do with this after, and then parang they don't know actually, so parang maybe you want to donate it to us, so they actually donated, so we're very thankful actually. And that video was from our guests in the farm, so we're very thankful to have that video. So this is how we are developing the farm. So it's very child-centered. Because the inspiration is actually my daughter who's 4 years old. So everything that's there, even the protocols and operations, the safety measures, the height of the things, the steps, the activities is designed for her. So our mission is really to create a safe and open space where families can have the freedom to move, explore, and connect with themselves. What I mean by this is that because, diba, parang, as I said, especially if you're a city dweller, especially in this modern world, na you are bombarded with so much information, just sometimes you actually tend to disconnect with things that are most important. Yourself, your family, nature. So this one, dahil probinsya po talaga siya, at saka malayo, parang mawawala ka sa comfort zone mo. Kasi wala kaming aircon. Ano siya, pag maulan, pag mainit, gano'n. So tapos, bahala ka kung anong gusto mong gawin. Kung gusto mong magtakbo, kung gusto mo ano. So we're very happy na, we're very proud na it's like that. Na we're not really manicured, we're not scripted. It's really, we're allowing everyone to explore in their own pace, much like how we also experience the farm. Because every time I visit like twice a month. Every time I visit, it's a different thing. Now we focus on, or we do, and there you go. So it's very humble, or we try to also make it very authentic, meaning very close to our reality when we were children. Yeah, so our guests basically, they visit us. We cater specifically to families. So, and some of the activities they do in the farm is that they interact with animals. Ito si Kuya Dennis, he's a marine biologist. So even the farm tour, even just the ducks and the chickens, he will tell you all the important information about each and every animal there. And every animal actually in our farm are like family to us. Everybody has a name. So this one is Tala. So she's a Mira buffalo. So yun, our guests would bathe her or interact with her, and as well as the other animals in our farm. So, di ba si Musay yung Pambata, sabi niya kanina yung for the Filipino child, right? Us naman, we're trying to connect with the inner child. Everybody has an inner child. Yun nga, yung mga, di ba? That's why also, even at our age, I'm almost 40, we enjoy when it's parang throwback, or we enjoy it when it's parang, it reminds us of remember the days, ganyan. So, because we feel like those times, yun talaga yung meron kang moments na unfiltered yung joy mo. Big sabihin, talagang yung saya mo, masaya ka lang. And that's what we also want our guests in the farm to experience. Na yung masaya siya because of what's happening, because they're being present, they're free, they're exploring, they're moving, ganun. And the children also, kasi most kids nowadays, they have so much screen time. So it's very sad if our kids were like, especially in the pandemic, na 1.5 years na nandun lang sila. For example, if you're living in a condo and you're spending how many so hours on the screen. So I really don't believe in that. I believe in tactile learning, sensory play. I'm sure Forest School would also agree with that. So it's really the experiences. Like for this one, these kids, or the kids of our guests, they were really like super enjoying the mud kasi it's muddy puddle. Mga bagay na nakikita lang nila sa TV, nakikita nila in real life and na-experience nila. And even yung mga ganyang moments with their parents and their children, hindi siya readily available, or sometimes you don't have a space to actually have it, or have an opportunity to actually have it. And it's just really very heartwarming for us when we see our guests, especially the kids, really having fun and really enjoying and connecting with everything inside the farm, and also their parents. And also, it's actually for us adults also, or for us parents, kasi especially like even personally for us, like when we're there, while the kids are playing in the playground, all the adults are also playing. We're in our 30s, we're playing patentero. We're playing shato. We're playing, what did we play? Luksong tinik. But of course, dahil matanda na kami, ang sakit na ng likod namin and ang tuhod namin. Pero it was really fun, and we were able to just do that also. And again, celebrating Filipino values and traditions. So we do tree planting. This is Tiyakad, so we try to make them experience it as well.
I remember all of those, yung sa mo, shato. I remember I used to play that. Shato ba yun? Oo.
Yeah.
Alam mo, do not do any structure, or what I see is just enough. Dahil ang gusto nga natin, yung una pag-understand at appreciate ng biodiversity. Maramdaman lang yung araw pag umaaraw, maramdaman lang ang ulan pag umuulan. Makita ang mga puno at alamin kung anong klaseng puno, ilang taon yung puno, anong benepisyo ng dahon o maski yung bark ng puno, parte na yan ng edukasyon eh. So, hindi kailangan sa mga park na tinatawag may mga building, hindi kailangan at all. Because as we say, nature is our museum. And the concept of parks and museum with concrete structures is in the old norm. In the new norm brought about by the pandemic, it's the realization that the planet is our playground and our life and our home. And our home is beyond the confines of a square concrete structure. So maganda yung ginagawa nyo na nandyan yung mga traditional na mga laro nung panahon natin na maaring hindi na alam ng ating mga bata ngayon. Kaya if I may suggest, ang gandang gawin yung peg ninyo kaiba sa ibang mga resorts or farms ay yung pag-i-institutionalize at pagtuturo ng mga sinauna or indigenous sports. Yung mga playthings, traditional playthings. Anong bata? Hindi ko alam yung tawag nung bata ako. Yung meron kaming kahoy, dalawa, tapos pitiw. Meron bang ganun, pitiw? Do you remember that? I used to play pitiw. Ginagano namin, tas hinahabol yun. I don't know. But I remember, I would have to ask my cousins na naglalaro kami ng pitiw. Tapos, syempre, sipa. Everybody knows sipa. Pero, tapos, syempre, alam natin, hanggang ngayon, yung pag may mga piyesta o yung may mga buntings na, anong tawag doon?
Pabitin.
Pabitin. Oh, pero pabitin, hindi na laro. That's part of games, yeah. But yung pabitin pa, minsan single-use plastic. May also encourage Bambi Manyosa Tanhutko of Museo Pambata, and of course, Sharon later on, and Eds, na ensure na sa mga farm ninyo at museums, you implement RA 9003. Hindi ko nakita sa farms ninyo, but maybe you have trash bins, bote, lata, plastic, and that is part of the educational portion of the farm, na bawal magpasok ng single-use plastic dito. So, meron tayong bin pang bote, lata, plastic na nare-recycle at pwedeng ibenta ng inyong farm keeper, beekeeper, or staff na in charge or kamag-anak, at lahat ng proceeds nun can be for the upkeep of the farm. You'll be surprised. Pag binenta nyo yung inyong bote, lata, plastic, yan ay makakatulong sa inyong pagsweldo sa tao, maski sa pamasahe. Pangalawa, lahat ng, ang laki-laki ng farm nyo, organic waste, meaning yung dry leaves at yung twigs at yung mga kahoy na huhulog pag bagyo or pag tuyot na siya. Tapos lahat ng food waste na dinadala ng tao, wag itapon basta-basta, hindi ko dapat i-kolekta ng basurahan, at ito ay linalagay sa isang compost pit, especially in your farm that's in Rizal, right? Ang laki ng space. Have a place for a compost pit, and that can be part of the farm tour. And then, nakita ko, ayan, sa picture nakikita ko, meron kayong parang bahay kubo. That can be a material recovery facility. bote lata plastic, paper waste, and everything that is not recyclable is called residual or latak. Yun lang ang ipipick up ng garbage collectors. So if this is done, let's say, in Museo Pambata and even in Hiraya or in Forest School, then you can be models of ecological solid waste management, models of the circular economy, and that is part of the farm tour or the museum tour. Kasi ang pagtuturo ng mga batas ng kalikasan ay parte ng ating buhay. Whether you run a museum, whether you run a farm, or you run a resort, or you run a school. Diba, mga DepEd teachers na nakikinig sa atin? Makulit ako sa waste segregation dahil dyan nagsisimula ang lahat. Imagine, kung hindi tayo naghiwalay ng basura, paano na ang ating mga kanal, ang ating mga rivers, ilog, ang ating lawa, mga lakes, ang ating karagatan, hindi ba? Lumulutang na mga bote, lata, plastic. Na project na nga by a certain year, there will be more plastics in the sea than fish. Wow, what a life. So we must integrate that into our daily life. Yeah. Okay. So Eds, thank you. Are you showing us some photos? Otherwise, yes, we can proceed to a forest school, but it's beautiful. I think you have a very beautiful place. Taga Rizal kayo. It's in Pililla, right?
In Halahala, Rizal.
Halahala, napakaganda dyan. Ang ganda-ganda sa Halahala. Yes. Mukhang malaki. It's a hectare or more, right?
1.2.
Beautiful. That's just very manageable. Napakaganda. At saka ang ganda ng weather dyan. Halahala is a beautiful place. And I can see, ang laki pa ng iyong spasyo. Do not overbuild. You don't need to have concrete. Nature is your space. Of course, kailangan may pag umuulan. But just use recycled materials from old wood or even old plastics, old tubo to have. Ang mga bangko ko, galing lang sa lumang kahoy, lahat nare-resikulo. And then, pwede kayo magtanim ng mga gulay. Alam mo na yun, parang nung grade school tayo, di ba? Pagtatanim ng mga gulay. Yeah. So, great. You celebrate Filipino values, traditions, and artifacts. That's great. And you can be a center for indigenous play, indigenous sports. Wala pang ganyan nakikita kong play farm or resort na nagtuturo o nag-exhibition. Pwedeng venue siya. Events place ng Philippine indigenous sports. Hindi ba? Ang ganda niyan. Ang gandang peg yan. Yan. Try to do that. From Pililla, Rizal, we go to Tagaytay. I'm not sure whether Sharon Cortez, thank you so much, Eds. I'm not sure if Sharon is in Tagaytay, but it says here she's also in Ilocos. So, Ilocano ba si Sharon? Ang nanay ko po ay Ilocana. Oh, malapit ang tanghalian, Mangantayon. O sige. So, ikaw ba'y nasa Tagaytay o nasa Indang, Silang, sa Cavite, or nasa Ilocos? Thank you so much, Eds. And we go to Sharon. Alam ko si Eds is also from UP, right? Comres. I was from Broadcast Communications, yes.
Ma'am, I was actually your staff at Real Stories with Lauren Legarda in ABC5 back in 2004, 2003, I think.
Really?
I was a researcher for you. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. I recruited you from UP.
Yes, ma'am. I worked with sila Ate Apple. Yun.
How nice. 2004. That was 17 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
How nice. Researcher.
Yes, ma'am. For your segments.
Do you know that Real Stories in 2004 was the first and only program in Channel 5 then, iba na syempre na yon, TV5, that won a KBP Golden Dove Award. Di ba? Yes, proud tayo nun. Yun yung time na I was out of politics. I lost the vice presidential race. But gaya ng sinabi ko, pag may dagok sa buhay, hindi tayo pwede magmukmok, malungkot ako. Pero ako'y nag-produce ng programa na Real Stories. How nice, kasama ko pala si Eds. At natutuwa ako ngayon na ang ginagawa mo ay similar sa mga ginagawa ko at pinapatupad mo ang mga batas ko.
Yes, ma'am.
Na-inspire ka ba sa mga ginawa?
Yes, ma'am. You were a huge idol for me growing up.
Oh, nakakatuwa. No, I love, maybe after we're fully vaccinated, I can visit your farm in Halahala. Ang Halahala, katabi ng Pililya, di ba? Oo.
After.
Okay. Napakaganda. Nandun kayo ngayon.
We're in Antipolo now, ma'am. Kasi I got married yesterday, so we're still here.
Oh my God, congratulations. Oh my God, I will not take you away from your honeymoon. We go now to the forest school. Thank you for being with us, even on your wedding week. Oh, congratulations. Wow. And then you were my colleague or my staff. Those were my sad days, but I tried to fight sadness by producing real stories. Yeah, so thank you for this information. Okay, thank you. Now, Sharon Cortez of Forest School. Sige, paano mo binibigyan ng virtual tour ang mga kabataan naman sa ating Forest School? Sharon Cortez.
Magandang umaga po, Deputy Speaker Legarda.
Good morning, magandang umaga sa iyo.
Ken naimbag ka bigat kadagiti amin nga Ilocano nga agboy-buya tata.
Ay, naimbag nga bigat. Ako'y Antikenya ang mama, pero ang nagpalaki Ilocana, kaya ako'y pinalaki sa diningding at aaminin ko ang ugali kong sobrang stricto ay dahil nanay kong Ilocana.
Opo. Ayan. So maraming salamat po at sa araw na ito, nais ko pong ibahagi ang tungkol po sa Forest School. So ano nga ba ang Forest School? Malamang karamihan po sa atin, ngayon lamang po ito narinig. Subalit bago ko po bigyan ng kahulugan ito, nais kong munang ituwid ang maling kuro-kuro tungkol dito. Nagmula mismo sa pangalan nito. So pag sinabi po kasi nating forest school, 'di ba, mula sa salitang forest, hindi sa totoo lang, hindi po sa lahat ng panahon ay sa gubat nagaganap ang forest school. Minsan maaari po itong maganap sa sapa o kaya sa ilog o kaya kahit lang sa kalsada o sa labas ng bahay. At mula naman sa salitang school, hindi po talaga ito paaralan na kung saan ay merong guro na nagtuturo. So ang mahalaga po ay na maintindihan natin ngayon ang kaisipan sa likod po ng forest school na philosophy. Next slide. So what is forest school? Forest school is an approach to learning that takes place out in nature where kids take charge of their learning through play and risk-taking. So mula po sa kahulugan na yan, makikita po natin na ito ay isang paraan ng pag-aaral kung saan unang-una yung bata ang siyang namumuno sa kanyang pag-aaral. At pangalawa, ito'y ginagawa niya sa pamamagitan ng paglalaro at pakikipagsapalaran or risk-taking. Next slide. So meron pong 6 na prinsipyo na makakapagsabi po sa atin kung ang isang paraan ng pag-aaral ay forest school. Unang-una, ito po'y ginaganap sa labas o sa kalikasan na tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, hindi siya kinakailangang nasa gubat. Now, bakit po dapat nasa labas? Bakit outdoors? Merong salitang nilikha ang isang Harvard naturalist na si Dr. Edward Wilson, ang salitang biophilia. So bio, ibig sabihin life or buhay. Philia meaning love or pag-ibig. So kung saan ang tao raw ay merong natural na pagnanasa na makipag-ugnayan, makiisa sa anumang uri ng buhay o kalikasan. So mapahalaman man yan or hayop. Pangalawa, pag nasa labas po, pag nasa labas tayo or ang mga bata, 'di ba, minsan titingala lang tayo sa langit o kaya makakakita lang tayo ng puno, nagkakaroon po tayo ng kalmadong pakiramdam. So kapag stress-free po ang environment ng mga bata, mas madali po silang natututo. At huling dahilan kung bakit tayo nasa labas ay ang kalikasan po ay mayaman sa natural na laruan. So hindi po nila kailangan ng magagarbong laruan ang mga bata. Ang kalikasan po nagpo-provide po yan ng stick, ng bato o kaya dahon. And para sa mga bata, ang stick, hindi lang po siya stick. Maari po siyang maging baril o espada o kabayo. So maraming posibilidad at nagiging mapaglikhain ang mga bata pag nilalaro nila ang mga ito. Ang pangalawang prinsipyo po ay learner-led or pinapangunahan ng bata ang kanyang pag-aaral. So, tinuturing po namin ang bata na meron talaga siyang kakayahang matuto mag-isa. At ang paraan po ng kanyang pagtututo or pag-aaral ay sa pamamagitan ng laro at pagpili or ang tinatawag nating play and choice. So, pag naglalaro sila, wala pong sapilitan yon. Dapat nag-enjoy sila sa kanilang nilalaro. Ang pangatlong prinsipyo po ay long-term or pangmatagalan. Hindi po siya once a year na tulad ng nung ako pa yung nag-aaral, parang once a year lang po nagkakaroon ng field trip. And pag may field trip, lahat talaga masaya o maligaya. So kapag sa forest school po, hindi lang siya minsan nang nagaganap, kundi linggo-linggo. At kahit na anumang panahon, umulan o umaraw, nagaganap po ang forest school. At dahil doon, yung pagbabago ng panahon, nakakadagdag po ito ng hiwaga or ng sorpresa para sa mga bata na nag-aaral. So halimbawa po, nung pino-forest school ko yung mga pamangkin ko sa aming farm sa Ilocos po, yung dating tuyot na lupa noong tag-init, ay biglang nagbago ang anyo nung naging tag-ulan na po. So naging puno na siya ng berdeng damuhan. And yun pa lang na nakita ng mga bata yung pagbabago. So parang kahit sila na-amaze sila sa hiwaga ng kalikasan na binigay na yon. Ang pang-apat po na prinsipyo ay holistic development. So tinitignan po natin ang kabuuang paglaki ng mga bata. Hindi lang po siya academic or yung intellectual na aspeto, kundi yung social, physical, communication or linguistics, emotional, and spiritual na aspect. Panglima po is risk-taking or sinusuportahan po natin ang pakikipagsapalaran ng mga bata dahil mahalaga po ito sa kanilang paglaki. So hindi po namin sila inilalayo sa panganib o kapahamakan para matutunan po nila kung paano nila papanalitihing ligtas ang kanilang mga sarili. At panghuli ay ito po ay pinangungunahan ng isang kwalipikadong leader. So dahil nga po kakaibang paraan ito mula sa traditional o nakagisnan natin, ang forest school leader po ay hindi talaga guro, hindi po teacher ang tawag sa amin, kundi coach or facilitator upang kung ano man yung mga karanasan ng mga bata na nasa Germany or Scandinavian countries, yun din po yung maranasan ng mga bata dito po sa Pilipinas. Next slide po. So pag pinagsama-sama po natin ang 6 na prinsipyo ng forest school, ang resulta ay ang mga bata ay magiging unang-una, lalaki po sila na buo sa lahat ng aspeto. So tulad po ng nabanggit ko kanina, marunong silang makipagkapwa, yung physical na pangangatawan nila, malakas kasi marunong silang bumalanse dahil lagi silang tumatakbo or umaakit ng mga puno. Maging yung kanilang intellectual na aspeto, yung kanilang pangwika o komunikasyon, kaya nilang sabihin kung ano yung sama ng loob nila. Emosyonal, kapag meron po silang nararamdaman, maaari po nilang isabihin ito, i-voice out ito, at ang kanilang spiritual na paglaki. Pangalawang resulta ay matututunan din nila ang kasanayan sa buhay tulad ng pagkamalikhain, creativity, nagiging mapagsarili din sila or independent, at nagkakaroon sila ng kumpiyansa sa kanilang sarili at katatagan or tinatawag nating resilience sa Ingles. At ang pangatlo po ay ang pagiging stewards of nature. So natututunan po nilang maging tagapangasiwa or katiwala ng kalikasan. And yun po yung gusto kong pagtuunan natin ng konting pansin ngayon, yung pangatlong aspeto, bilang ito po yung tema or paksa ng ating pag-uusap sa araw na ito. Next. So karaniwan po, naiisip natin na ang mga paaralan ay nariyan upang turuan ang mga bata na maging tagapangalaga ng mundo o kalikasan. Tama po ba? Subalit meron pong pananaliksik noong 2019 na ginawa po ni Alexia Barrable mula sa University of Dundee sa Scotland. Sabi po niya, environmental education is often seen as a solution to behavior change in protecting the environment. However, ito po yung importante doon. Knowledge alone does not motivate the needed changes in behavior. So hindi porket napanood na nila lahat ng mga series ni David Attenborough or lahat ng episode ng Discovery Channel ay magiging environmentalist na ang isang bata. Wala po sa dami ng lecture o webinar o workshop na napakinggan nila ang makakapagbago sa kanilang ugali. So, kung hindi po sapat ang kaalaman o ang knowledge upang maudyok ang pagbabago ng sarili, ng ugali, ano nga ba? Next, nais ko pong gumamit ng analohiya. Okay? So, pwede po bang pansamantala isipin po natin ang ating best friend, ang ating matalik na kaibigan? Yan. So, paano po ba nagsimula ang pakikipagkaibigan na yon? Malamang hindi naman kayo malapit dati, pero habang tumatagal, kahit anuman ang mangyari, kaya mo nang ipagtanggol ang iyong kaibigan. Hindi po ba? So, ganun din po ang pakikipagkaibigan ng isang bata sa kalikasan. Maaring magsimula siya na ayaw niyang lumabas kasi mainit, or ayaw niyang lumabas pag umuulan, or ayaw niyang humawak sa lupa kasi kadiri. Hanggang sa makakakita siya ng bulaklak, nakaakit-akit, at makakarinig po siya ng huni ng ibon. Sa susunod, mag-uusisa na siya at may mga bago na siyang makikita. Maaring dahon o stick na nalaglag na maaring niya nang gawing laruan. Maya-maya, nais niya nang magtagal at manatili sa kalikasan hanggang sa lalalim na ang kanyang pakikipagkaibigan or pakikipag-isa rito. Sa punto na gusto niya nang protektahan at alagaan ang kalikasan. So kung nagsimula man siya na tapon dito, tapon doon ng basura, walang pakialam, magkakaroon na po siya ng pagkalinga sa kapaligiran. At pag nakakakita na siya ng basura, maiisip niya na, ay, hindi karapat-dapat ang kalat dito sa labas, sa kalikasan. So, ang dulot po nito ay pro-environmental beliefs. Next, ang mga karanasan nila mula sa pagkabata ay mahalaga kung paano sila makikipagsalamuha sa kalikasan sa kanilang paglaki. Kaya po sa Forest School, ang hangad po namin ay maranasan ng mga bata ang nature connectedness. At ayon po sa saliksik ni Wells and Leckis noong 2006, ang sabi po nila, adult environmentalism has been shown to derive from deep and positive childhood experiences in nature. Next. So kung nais po ninyo na ang inyong anak na lumaki na may malasakit sa mundo, simple lang po ang sagot. Hayaan po natin sila na maranasan ang kalikasan na masaya sila at nag-e-enjoy. At bilang pagtatapos, gusto ko pong basahin ang quote na sinabi po ni David Sobel. Sabi po niya, if we want to care about nature, they need to spend time in it first. So, kung nais niyo pong magkaroon ng dagdag na kaalaman tungkol sa Forest School, meron po kaming ginawang libreng toolkit na maaari niyo pong i-download sa forestschoolphilippines.com/toolkit. At kung nais nyo naman po matuto kung paano i-forest school ang inyong mga anak o mga estudyante, meron din po akong group coaching program na ang tawag ay Braving the Outdoors. So magsisimula na po yung ikatlong batch sa ika-5 ng Agosto. Pwede nyo pong puntahan ang forestschoolphilippines.com/BTO. Maraming salamat po.
Interesting. Did you pattern your forest school from any other forest school in the Philippines or in Southeast Asia, perhaps? The Green School Bali, for example, or was this an original concept? Or perhaps in Germany?
Hindi po siya original na concept. Yung training po na natanggap ko, I took it from a UK online provider.
Oh, nice. So
yes po,
interesting.
yung roots niya talaga nagmula sa UK and the Scandinavian countries.
Good. What is that UK online course? Kasi sa marami ngayon na maaring displaced workers or mga estudyanteng hindi pa makahanap ng trabaho, maaring, as you did, you went on an online course. What is that online course that others may avail of? At ilang araw, ilang oras yun? Mahal ba yun? Baka hindi naman kaya. At paano sila mag-qualify na maging forest school guides even in the virtual world? Yes.
Opo. So yung training na online, Archimedes po yung pangalan ng online provider. Nasa 50,000 po ata yon. And meron kang isang buong taon para tapusin yon. So dahil nga po siya online, hindi ko kinailangang pumunta doon. Pero meron po akong kailangang isubmit na mga requirements tulad ng kailangan ko mag-obserba ng 3 bata at ilatag ko kung ano yung mga pag-uugali nila o yung mga development nila. At maliban pa doon, kailangan ko rin pong i-video yung sarili ko na marunong akong gumamit ng kutsilyo, marunong ako magtayo ng tent, marunong ako magtali, marunong ako gumamit ng ibang tools.
So ito ay isang online course called Archimedes. Hindi mura ha, 50,000, that's $1,000. So hindi naman lahat kaya niyan. At pag magka-graduate ka niyan online in 1 year, pwede ka magtayo ng sarili mong forest school. You are qualified, certified.
Yes po, ang kinuha ko po ay level 3. So para pong principal yon. Kaya pag natapos niyo po yon, pwede po talaga kayong magtayo ng sarili niyong forest school.
Pag level 1 lang, ang gusto ng mga tao basic lang na introductory, pwede rin yon.
Meron din po, opo.
And this is called an Archimedes online course?
Sorry, yung Archimedes po, yun po yung kumpanya na nag-offer po. Yeah, pero yung course mismo is Forest School.
Forest School, how interesting.
Yes,
my question is, we have the UP Los Baños College of Forestry, di ba? And I'm sure other state universities might have forestry subjects, but sa pagkaalam mo, Sharon, are there courses similar to what you took online in the UK, here in the Philippines, or wala pa?
Wala po talaga. At iba po siya sa forestry eh. Kasi ang forestry po, talagang aaralin mo, sa pagkakaintindi ko po, aaralin mo talaga ang kagubatan.
Yes, yes.
Pero ang forest school po, pinaghalong, ang focus mo ay nasa bata eh. Tapos sa labas kayo.
Yes, okay.
Tulad po nung naranasan nyo nung kabataan nyo, na nasa labas, na kung ano-ano yung mga nilalaro ng mga tutubi o mga alitaka.
Teka. Parang nabasa mo yata o narinig mo yung sinabi ko kasi ganyan ako.
Yes. Po kanina.
Actually, one day, even if you talk to my 87-year-old nanay na Ilocana, sabi niya, ikaw naman kasi ever since, di ka mahilig sa barkada eh. Kasi sabi ko, sa lockdown, hindi naman ako nalulungkot na hindi ako lumalabas na maraming amiga o kaibigan. Kasi sabi niya, bata ka pa, ganyan ka na, ang kalaro mo kasi mga alitap-tap at paru-paro at mga salagubang eh. Nanay naman, oo, yun ang mga kaibigan mo, ang nature. So, may yaya during the pandemic, ang pinapakilala niya ang sarili ko sa totoong sarili ko dahil kinukwento niya mula nung bata ako. Naalala ko naman, sabi ko, nanay, may mga kaibigan naman ako, oo, pero mas enjoy kapag nature. So, natutuwa ako sa iyo, Sharon. How old are you, Sharon?
I am 43.
And before you joined this forest school, what was your orientation?
I finished management and meron din po kaming family business hanggang ngayon.
Oo.
Pero ano lang, I felt na this forest school is a purpose or a personal calling for me.
How nice. And hindi ka nagpupunta sa sarili mong forest. Hindi naman. It could be any area kasi it says here, Tagaytay, Indang, at Silang. Bakit mo napili ang mga lugar na yon at saan dun gumagawa ka ng mga forest tours with children?
So ang challenge ko po ngayon, dahil wala po talaga akong lupain dito sa Cavite.
Sa Cavite ka, hindi ka na sa Ilocos?
Nasa Tagaytay po ako ngayon. Opo.
Okay. Oo. Hindi
So
naman
ngayon,
kailangan ikaw may-ari. It could be any public space. Yung mga bikers, nag-bike sila kung saan. Kumbaga ganun. Kung ang bikers at ang mga naglalakad ay nagpupunta sa iba't ibang lugar, ganun din ang mga forest guides, diba? At forest school. Oo.
Opo, yun lamang po, 'di ba? Dahil nga po sa pandemic, talagang mahigpit pong pinagbawal ang mga bata. So, hindi kailangan kong maghanap po ng lugar na mga private property owners na kung saan i-allow po nila yung mga bata. And ngayon,
tutulungan kita.
Ay, sige po!
Tutulungan kita. Sige. Victoria, okay, get her number. Natutuwa ako. Just turuan mo ako ng wala akong 1 taon para mag-aral sa Archimedes. Maybe in a few minutes, parang 101. Forest School 101. Gawin mo akong crash course na 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Kaya ko po yan.
1 hour. 1 hour. Hindi, maganda. Magandang, yung 1 year mo, gumawa ka ng less than 1 hour lecture for busy people, parang Forest School 101. Di ba? Ang ganda.
Meron po akong ginawang webinar nung pandemic po, May last year. So,
yes.
Pwede ko pong i-share yung link sa inyo.
Ayun, o sige. Natutuwa ako kasi I've always, I was a journalist for 20 years. I became a lawmaker. Nailatag ko na lahat ng batas. At gusto ko, dahil communicator ka, gaya kanina ng aking former staff sa Real Story, si Eds, at ngayon naman may farm school din, and then si Bambi naman sa Museo Banda. Pwede natin itahi-tahi lahat ng mga ginagawa natin. Pwede mo rin habang ka gagawa sa Forest School, you can also talk about my laws, right? Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Ecological Solid Waste Management Law, Renewable Energy Law, People's Survival Fund, Environmental Awareness Education Act, and Climate Change Act, National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Act, Expanded National Integrated Protected Area System. Woo! Ayun na naman, 11:35 na. I'm enumerating my laws. So, and they've been waiting for me in the UP Visayas webinar. Pinag-uusapan yung aking proposed bill on the Philippine Environmental Natural Resources Accounting System since 10 a.m. But I have my lawyer here. It says, okay, they've been waiting, but I had a recorded message there. So I cannot leave my stories for a better normal. I thank you, Sharon, and I look forward to attending a crash course with you if I have time. Oh my God, yes. So, nagagawa ka rin ng virtual tours maski na hindi ka lumalabas sa forest, or wala kang virtual forest tour?
Hindi po virtual forest tour kasi parang para sa akin, it defeats the purpose kasi ang bata dapat po maranasan nila talaga yon na real life experience.
Tama. Okay.
So, oo. So yung coaching lang po ang ginawa ko para sa mga magulang, para
Ayun.
sila na po yung gumabay sa kanilang mga anak pag
Yes.
nasa labas sila.
Pero nakagawa ka na bago pandemic ng forest tour o hindi pa?
Hindi po. Yung sessions po mismo, forest school sessions, yes. Nagsimula po nung June 2019.
Tas naabutan ng pandemic. Saan yung lugar na pinuntahan nyo?
So, nung una po sa Amadeo, Alitap-Tap Village. So, dapat nagsisimula na po ako noon, kaso nung 2020, pumutok po ang taal.
Yes. Maganda sa Amadeo.
Pandemic.
Yes, maganda sa Amadeo. Oo, sa Silang marami din. Tutulungan kita. Alam mo, dapat lang alam ng mga mayor, no? At siguro yung mga senro. You should link with the community environment officers, the senros of Amadeo, Silang, Alfonso, and Tagaytay. Yung 4 lang na yan, mga karatig bayan, at meron mga open spaces where you can bring them. Anyway, thank you so much. And after this, I will read the messages. I thank, of course, our guests, Bambi and Bella, as well as Sharon and Eds. Congratulations for all the work that you do. And in a way, I think that you are implementing the laws that I've authored since 1998. Yeah, Tasha and Bella, I'm sorry that I cannot stay longer because of the webinar of UP Visayas, but I'd like to greet our viewers from Antique, Manila, Rizal, Ilocos Sur, Davao Oriental, Ruby, Dematira, Annalyn Romero, MG Ocampo, and May Loris Leonarizas, and Annalyn Romero, Maria Irene Balierta. Congrats for your programs, loving our children's future and the environment. Love. She loved though the vlog with Karen Davila. Mauulit po. Ayan, natutuwa sila. Giselle Aimee Belen, MB Lizb, Relucio Sonia, Therese Gomez, Merly Cabaya, and Nylanor Ronod Alapom. Nylanor, yes, isa po ako naniniwala. Bata po ako, may pamilya, then magandang tumulong. Yes, very good. And Daveng Eslabra Ejurpe, yes, salamat po. Oh, salamat daw sa tupad, yes, because I give Dole cash for work to displaced people. Welcome po. Yes, and Jazriel Puyat, Francis Geo Del Monto, and Janelle Verano. 9 years old pa lang daw siya noong 1998 nung gumagawa na akong batas. Sabi niya, at least 9 years old, pero ngayon narinig mo yung mga batas na ginawa ko. Kaya nga, inuulit-ulit ko yung legacy video ko kasi let's share it with the kids for us, yung legacy video, para meron sila in 5 minutes yung mga batas na ginawa in 1998. So, Victoria will do that. Nardet Pahed Somera from Ilocos Sur, Aljen Aquilino from Davao Oriental, Daveng Ejurpe, 10 years old pa lang. Ang dami nagkasabi ng age na. Sila nung gumagawa na ako ng batas, 10 years old. Kayo di mabuti, natuto. I did it for you. Ayan. Alan Carlo Arboleda, Geraldine Fombuena, and Herbert Bota. There are many comments. Hindi ko na babasahin. Kefi Chris Mendoza, Maken, suking-suki si Maken, nakakatuwa. Nylanor Alapan, sarap daw ng honey. Saan makakabili ba? Hindi, binibigay lang nila eh. O sige, gusto kong gumawa ng honey. Sa educational daw, ang educational daw na Museo Pambata, sabi ni MB Liz. At Corazon Blancha, nice job daw mga guro. Sabi, Nylanir, mga guro kayong lahat, tayong lahat. Nylanir Alapan, and where do you buy honey? They're all asking me. Still watching from Cainta Rizal, si Nylanor, Iros Zuzu, okay? Namimiss daw niya ako. Ang boses ko raw. Masarap pakinggan, ayan. Masarap pakinggan ba ang boses ko? Very good. Aldrin Bullock, Berna Menor, yes, and Rouse Manahan, and so many more. Ating mga teachers, sana po nag-enjoy po kayo sa ating pagsalo-salo ngayon sa pagbibigay ng edukasyon at best practices. While I may have authored most of our environmental laws in the country since 1998, I always believe I have more to learn from the younger people, from Tasha, Bella, even their mama, Bambi, and I have much to learn. Let's say, malay ko naman si Eds worked with me 17 years ago, and I have much to learn, like people like Sharon, who underwent a UK online course. So even if I am a lawmaker of 3 terms and proudly inspired to do more laws in the coming years, I learn from all of you. I thank all of you for giving your time, but more than time, your knowledge, your wisdom, your knowledge, and your soul, because I feel connected with all of you. Whether you are a farm owner in Rizal or a forest school founder in Tagaytay, or a Museo Pambata, or a Kids for Us online advocacy group, and all our viewers and teachers in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. As you say in Antique, Duro gid nga salamat, palangga ko kamo. Lahat po ng mga contacts ng ating mga panauhin ngayon ay ipa-flash ngayon ng Climate Change Commission at magbibigay tayo ng starter kits para magtanim so that we grow our own food. May I also ask the Climate Change Commission to give our 3 guests our PA guidebooks if we still have. Ito po yung Protected Areas Guidebooks. Ito po yung mga batas na aking ginawa na ginawang maikling guidebook ng DENR when I was senator. Kung wala na yon, we will give my other environmental book so that you can share it with Museo Pambata, read it as a forest school guide, and share it and do storytelling sessions in Rizal as well. So thank you so much. God bless. Keep safe. This has been Lauren Legarda. Thank you. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Of course, Mother Earth Foundation, Climate Reality Philippines, Institute of Climate and Sustainable Cities, and my dedicated staff working very hard to have this webinar for more than 1 year during the pandemic. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.